Hey there guys, I am the Sixth Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So I wanted to just have a quick little thought in the video today about those sparkly new stat changes and updates that the Xenos appear to be getting. Of course, we've only seen a brief glimpse at the Drukhari changes, with their Cabalite warriors moving to 2 attacks and a 4+ save, the Splinter Cannon gaining a -1 AP and also 2 damage, and even the Incubi getting some nice changes with a buff to a 2+ weapon skill, and some significant changes to their weapon the Clave, with an extra pip of strength and damage being added to the profile. But we've seen up till this point as well the big changes that came in with the Necrons. Obviously, big gameplay mechanic changes came in with things like the dynastic codes and the big changes to reanimation protocols, but even in their basic stat lines, we got some pretty hefty changes with things like Immortals being bumped to toughness 5, Deathmarks gaining the same toughness bonus and also getting ballistic skill 2+, and things like the Lichguard gaining an extra attack. So with this in mind, I just wanted to have a very quick think about what various other units in the game may get in their eventual codex. So the plan is that I'm going to do a series of these videos looking at a variety of units and making some very rough and probably very wrong estimations of what I think or what I would like to see when these other Xenos codexes eventually come out. And today we're going to start off by looking at those lovable rascals, the ever reliable Ork Boy. So as you can see by the profile on your screen now, for 8 points these guys get you a movement of 5 inches, a weapon skill of 3+, ballistic skill of 5+, strength and toughness of 4, 1 wound, 2 attacks, a leadership of 6, and a very underwhelming armor save of 6+. Now, just looking at the profiles themselves, if you compare that to the new and improved Cabalite Warrior stat line, I would say, yeah, the Ork Boy isn't looking too hot. A better strength and toughness doesn't make up, for me, that loss they take in the movement, ballistic skill, leadership, and massively in the save department now. So I do think that Ork Boys will get some changes when they get their turn for a codex. Maybe not a huge change, but I think they will get a little bit of a buff to make them worth that 8 points. And I will say now, straight off, if I'm being honest, I really can't see them dropping down in points. I think that Games Workshop is perhaps keen to maintain a relatively static level on the points front for this edition and just make adjustments and amendments to make the units themselves better. As I said in a previous video, they certainly seem to be more open to actually adjusting stat lines, weapon profiles and that sort of thing in 9th edition, much more so than they have done in previous editions. So the Ork Boys, what sort of things could they get? Well, toughness 4 is meant to portray their rugged durability and innate toughness, so I don't think that 2 wounds are coming for the boys. That wouldn't make too much sense to me from a fluff perspective. They are often said as being as tough as a Space Marine, but I do think that there is a level of disparity between the two in the fluff that should be maintained. And B, 60 wound mobs of boys would be an absolute horror on the tabletop. So from a purely balance perspective, I really don't think that a second wound is heading its way to us. I do think that a possibility is that Ork units, or at least non-vehicle units, may gain some kind of feel no pain shrug. And I know, they just took this away from the Death Guard, but a 6+ shrug would kind of go with the Orks fluff-wise, in that they are literally just too stupid to realize that they're dead, and they just keep on fighting and going on regardless of the injuries they've taken. I wouldn't mind this actually, and whilst a 6+ shrug isn't much, on a mob of 30 boys, those ignored wounds could really make a difference as you were taking more and more fire from your enemy. My only issue with it, as I said, they took this away from the Death Guard, and I wonder if that's because as an army-wide mechanic, it is a bit clunky and time consuming. Like obviously on a unit or two, it's fine, but across an entire army, it definitely can, really extend the time that it takes to work out whether a model has been killed or not. So if they didn't want that on a small elite army like the Death Guard, then there's no way they're going to want it on a horde army like the Orks. So looking at the profile, what else could there be? An extra attack, perhaps? I'll be honest, I think this is definitely coming. Between the extra attacks being handed out to Lich Guard, Cabalite Warriors, and even regular Marines, not to mention Shock Assault, the horde of Ork Boys charging in, even the Slugger Chopper Boys throwing buckets of dice, just doesn't really look as impressive anymore now that like a 10-man Assault Intercessor squad can be doing pretty much the same, if not more, depending on your loadout and your chapter. So yeah, an extra attack is, I think, definitely coming for the Orks to really bring in that weight of dice aspect that Ork players, and I think, to be fair, their opponents both love to see. What about the 6-up save? Well, no, that's staying. 100%, I 100% guarantee it. I will eat some of those disgusting jelly bean things that you don't know the flavour of and post it to this YouTube if Orks get a boost to their armor save. I 100% cannot see it happening. They're meant to have crappy non-existent armor, and a 6+ fits that spec just fine. So what else? Well, from a purely stat line perspective, I can't really think of much. As I said, an extra attack is coming, I'm almost certain, but things like movement, ballistic skill, wounds, armor save, they're gonna stay the same. I could maybe see the boss knob and subsequently units of knobs going to a 2+ weapon skill, if I'm being perfectly honest. But again, if they're gaining an extra attack, then that might not happen either. Orks in my mind are meant to be like Tyranids in that they throw so many dice, but even in melee, they're not exactly the most skilled. It's not like Orks are spending their lives training to duel with, Sigismund or Corswain. It's just, they hit pretty darn well, which are 3-up covers, and they throw buckets of dice at the enemy. So what about war gear? Well, as I said in the Drukhari video, the big shooter is due for a change, I feel. I do think that it will stay Assault 3, so you can run and gun with it. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure it's going to go to damage 2. I think maybe it will get a point of AP. Well, no, let me take that back. I'm pretty certain it will get a point of AP, giving it a Strength 5 -1 AP, 1 damage profile. I think that is quite likely. The fact that you can take 3 in a 30, strong squad of boys, just to me feels like it is an awful lot of potential 2 damage firepower if they gave it damage 2 as well. And I mean, even with their awful ballistic skill, I don't know, I feel like it's more likely to get a pip of AP, but not that extra damage that the heavy bolter and the splinter cannon got, which may sound like a bad thing, but conversely, it would of course mean that it stays at a lower price, which means that your boy squads will be that much cheaper than an equivalent Marine or Cabalite Warrior with a heavy bolter or a splinter cannon. So yeah, I think they will be worse from a damage perspective in terms of only being damage 1 compared to damage 2, but I do think from a price perspective they will stay sort of in line with the new heavy bolter and splinter cannon, which are 2 damage. I don't know, I could be wrong on that. I don't know, the idea of a big shooter doing 2 damage, like I get it being -1 AP. I think it should have been -1 AP all along. Maybe it would go to like Strength 6 -1 AP, 1 damage. I don't know, just 2 damage is a bit of a hurdle that I can't quite get over just yet. Although that being said, I probably would have never said that a splinter cannon should go to 2 damage either, so you never know. But I'm going to hedge my bets with Strength 5 or Strength 6 -1 AP, 1 damage. For now, anyway. I think that choppers may get, again, in line with chainswords, a pip of AP to go along with the extra attack they provide. And I get it, people will say that a chopper isn't the same as an Astartes chainsword, but I think they will. Like, chainswords and choppers have always kind of gone hand in hand. And, I mean, to be honest, lore-wise, it is literally just an Ork boy believing his chopper is going to go through the armor, so it isn't exactly a stretch from that perspective. If I was being really intricate and complicated, I would personally give them some kind of rule where they would go to AP -2 or AP -3 on like a 6+ to wound to showcase that this particular swing the Ork boy is doing, he is 100% confident that it's going to go through absolutely anything, like go straight through a titan like butter, but the rest of the time it's just a slightly sharp hunk of metal on the end of a stick. I love stuff like that, especially with the Orks, but if I'm being honest, as much as I would love that, I think it would be a great rule and it would give something to the chopper that would distinguish them from the Astartes chainsword, but I think Games Workshop, if I'm being honest, are probably trying to move away from that kind of thing and get rid of too much needless complexity amongst the rules. So little one-off effects like that I don't think will come in, but I do think that for orcs especially, and maybe for like the old rending rule, and sort of the thing that the Eldar get on their shuriken shots, I just feel like that would be quite cool and quite fluffy for an orc, in that, you know, they really believe that this one is going to be the one, and so it just goes through everything. It would be so damn cool, you know. Orcs with rending choppers, all thanks to the power of belief, is definitely something that I think Games Workshop should 100% get behind. The final thing that I think will absolutely 100% change on the Ork Boyz is the shooter. There is absolutely, certifiably, no frickin' way that these stay Assault 2 when Intercessors get their Assault 3 bolters, you know, the Hellblasters get their Assault 3 plasma. These are going to Assault 3, at least. They won't get any AP and will almost certainly stay 18 inches, sure, but they are getting 3 shots. Again, I will eat a whole box of those disgusting jelly beans if I'm wrong on this. Like before, if I was feeling super complex, I would maybe give them a rule where they don't suffer the penalty for advancing and shooting, just because, you know, they're spraying so many bullets down the field. The ballistic skill of 5+ still represents the number of shots and the number of average hits they should be putting on the enemy. But, you know, that's me just being needlessly complex for the sake of it. Whenever I write rules for campaigns or custom units, I always go overboard on the rules. If you ask Matt from the Heralds of Hobby how many tables I put in the fantasy campaign I made, I think it was like literally over 20 individual tables. Some of them had tables within tables just for this little fantasy campaign, but I love stuff like that. I love stuff that really differentiates, you know, one unit from another. You know, this guy's got a chopper, it does AP -3 on a 6 to wound. The Space Marine's got an Astartes chainsword, which is just always flat -1. You know, I like that differentiation, and part of me hopes that Games Workshop does push things towards that and make the armies, you know, have these little bespoke rules on things to kind of make something that is pretty much the same. Like choppers and chainswords, as I said, have always pretty much been the same, but make them feel slightly different from army to army. But again, I think that's just a pipe dream. I think they are almost certainly going to go to Assault 3, and I will be shocked if they don't, but I don't think they're going to get anything else on top of that. Anyway, I have rambled on for quite long enough. That is about it from the video today. I haven't covered everything. I haven't covered, you know, the different clans or stratagems or anything like that. I basically want to just take a look at the base profile and the weapon options for a unit and have a little think about what might change or what might get updated or what I personally would like to see change as the new Xenos codexes come out. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think any of the things I've mentioned are likely to come to pass? Or are you just eagerly awaiting for me to be wrong so you can watch me suffer as I have to eat those... what are they called? Bamboozled. I think that's what they're called. Right? Like the company, the little beans that you don't know what they taste like and they're disgusting. But anyway, I'll shut up again. Let me know what else you could see changing for the Ork Boyz and their weapon options in the Ork Codex whenever it does come out. Thank you very much again for watching, guys. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me. And until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.